Chat, here we go. It is the road to 100,000 subscriber invitational, and we have made it to our grand final. We invited 4 players to play in a pool play and then into a gauntlet, and it turns out the players we invited were strong enough to hold off the qualifiers. But you might be wondering, what do you mean road to 100,000 subscribers? I'm sure that's what you're most worried about, and the reality is we're getting close. We've thrown the counter up there in the top right, which will probably be higher by the time you watch it on YouTube, hopefully. But we're getting very close, and if we surge to 100,000 subscribers before the end of the tournament, we will run another much bigger tournament. A $3,001 tournament is what we'll run immediately following if we do happen to get there. But for now, let's talk a little bit about Nass and Dralii. Dralii finished perfect in pool play to put himself at the top of the gauntlet and give himself the best chance at the $1,000 first place prize. Nass did not do the same. He actually got third and had to play the gauntlet from the bottom. Didn't have to face Moxie, who, unfortunately, it's his birthday today. Not that it's unfortunately his birthday, but he did unfortunately have a surprise birthday party, which means he could not play today. Instead, Nass had to go through Vatira and then through Atto, and now he is here to avenge a loss against Dralii, because he did lose to Atto and Dralii both in pool play, but that was in best of 5s. Not that they were close, though, because Dralii won 3-1 and Atto won 3-0. But Nass knows how to clutch it up when it matters the most. In fact, these two guys have played at a time when they needed to clutch up. Salt Mine 2 or Salt Mine 3 Stage 2 Grand Finals was Nass versus Dralii in a best of 7, and Nass was able to take that one. Can he do something similar here in the Grand Finals of the Road to 100,000 Invitational? So far, Dralii's looking to hold it down. He wants a perfect record coming out of the tournaments, and no reason to believe that that's not possible with the way he played previously. It was actually Moxie who finished lowest in pool play that gave him the closest bout, but he's not going to have to deal with Moxie again. And while on EU servers there isn't too many, I feel like, really egregious direct head-to-head results, like maybe Dralii versus Moxie, although I think Dralii has a favorable matchup against Moxie, even though that was his toughest matchup. As I say that, where was I going with this? I actually think Nass has the matchup against Dralii. Somebody can maybe pull it up using RL duels, but off the top of my head, I want to say Dralii could maybe even have the Nass has a pretty heavy matchup against Dralii. Nass is up 4-1. And Dralii's up 7-1 against Moxie. So Dralii, despite struggling to get that last win, apparently does not often lose to Moxie. And Nass does not often lose to Dralii. Dralii, though, has been able to hold on to a 2-goal lead with over half the game played. And it's interesting because it's a 2-goal lead at 2-0. Has held all Nass scoring off for 3 full minutes. But sometimes it feels like you're just delaying the game here whenever you can slow the game down to a crawl for multiple minutes, but without a substantial lead, because now the game could get going quickly. Now that we're back to a kickoff, we could see 5 goals in the next 45 seconds. But Dralii is going to try and at least do something to stop that by not going to the kickoff. Helps with volatility a lot. And now he's got himself a wave dash catch and a 0 boost possession. Already this tournament, we've seen what Dralii can do on the ground with dashes and very little boost. He had one of the best freestyle ground shots we've seen. And he's going to dunk and dive on top of Nass to re-extend the lead to 2. Dralii able to recover from what looked like a mistaken kickoff and turned it into just a regular old delay kickoff, something that people do all the time intentionally. This ball actually went down too strong to Dralii. Nass had a boost advantage, so the fact the ball was ceiling height played in his favor, but he probably wanted a slower drop so that he could go up to the ceiling height and get it alone, but it actually sent itself straight down to where Dralii could be relevant even without boost. Wow. No follow-up needed for Nass. as this one will go perfectly crossbar down and in. And this match is indeed the grand finals of the EU portion of this tournament. Starting tomorrow, we'll start the North American side. And maybe we'll see a crossover. That was another thing that chat said they would want if we were able to reach the sub goal. Nass, irregular bump. Dralii gets out over the top of it. Super low scoring game here in game number 1. Nass has had a long day of 1v1. And this might shorten it slightly, but he needs to be in the lead. Dralii, wait a second. And this is what I'm talking about. These really close games can come down to silly mistakes that completely turn the tide. Dralii tapped the ball away and then had to be a mistaken backflip, or he thought he was going to be able to recover and somehow get back to the ball really quickly. Instead, he just gives Nass a free goal, despite the fact he's held the lead for the entirety of the game. It was always a small lead. Now they're tied with 15 seconds. Nass is going to be denied an opportunity to have a possession late. Chain dashes from Dralii. Couldn't find a dish to score, though. Demo, can he get underneath the ball? Does he want to? He probably should. Just because he's far away from the net does not mean it's a very favorable position for Dralii, who will flick and score. So he does hold off Nass, and he does so at 0 seconds off the back of a demo. Nass picks up the 100 and tries to pre-jump, maybe an aerial play, but Dralii looking for the flick. And we'll start the best of 7 series up 1. This gauntlet was never going to be easy, but there's no question that Nass has taken the hardest possible road. 2 Game 7s in his previous series to get here. We offered him up a brief break in between the series, but the reality is he did not take that much of a break. He's forced right back into the fire. And it looks like it's not going to be an easy way to win this one either. Dralii plays the ball directly into a backflip from Nass. Able to recover and make a save. A lot of people will talk about, you know, whenever someone's making a lower bracket run or a gauntlet type run, you know, oh, they were warmed up. They had so much going for them going into the game. Well, I think that is partially true. I don't think we can say that for Nass. I think 14 intense 1v1 games into this cannot be helpful. I think you got to start deteriorating. I start deteriorating after a single 1v1 loss. And Nass has lost 6 times. Dralii, a low air dribble, has Nass low on boost, so looking to try and cut this ball back to the net as quickly as possible, but a great 50 from Nass, earns himself a midfield 100, and he couldn't get back to the ball. I wonder if he could have gotten there without any boost at all and just taken the shot and scored. It would not have allowed for a lot of follow-up play if he didn't score it, which is another benefit to grabbing that boost, but reality is he does not get his goal, and the little wave dash pinch in the corner goes directly into Dralii. Nass falling from the ceiling. Late use of the flip. It goes down directly into Dralii. Credit him for an amazing save. Not easy to make those reads off of someone falling out of the air, and now he's going to do it again, this time from the back wall. Side flip to pop this ball up to himself to prepare for his own aerial take as he clean catches it, or as I was about to say, he clatches it, which everybody knows. That is lingo the kids are using these days. Quite the clatch from Dralii. Out of the last 5 games for Nass, he lost 4 of them. Yeah, that's a good point. Wait, is that true? I don't know. Who needs to fact check? I think he lost to... Oh, because you're including the Dralii loss. Yeah, okay, I get you. I got there. Dralii gonna tie it up, 2-2. If we get another game 7, this must be scripted. It's all just Nass doing all the hard work for us. Nass, half flip recovery. What a save from Nass. And you cannot blame Dralii for going all in. That should have seemed like a sure goal to him. Just dive on this ball. It's right on the goal line. There's just no world in which Nass is able to keep it out. So just secure my goal and move on. But Nass half flips back to make the save. And now has read the half flip kickoff. Can he get an angle? Should be able to. 4-2 Nass. Kickoff force to the right wall. Going to favor Dralii. His air dribble is brought to the ground. Nass was trying to cover every option. Maybe did. Dralii ends up not shooting, and that's why you have to really make it so your wall to air dribble setup goes into the net if you do nothing. If you do nothing at all and you just fall away from the ball, it needs to bounce into the net to truly be threatening. Otherwise, the defender can plan for you making some sort of play and react accordingly. No fakes allowed. Nass going to play out of his own half. He's been doing that a bunch. We saw a game against Atto where Atto had double the shots, but Nass 7 times the saves. Nass, long shot. Dralii actually does make the save by sending it just barely too high. No boost to set up a psycho, which we see a lot of players try and do from that situation, but Dralii forced to the ground, gets demoed. 6-2. Huge win here for Nass. And yeah, there's the next. I was going to say, we're getting into potential next territory for some players. Doesn't seem like Nass has ever been calling for next. Oh, he's got a new gaming chair. Dralii's going to reset the gaming chair, and it's over for Nass. Make it 9469. No, do not go unsubscribe to make it 9469. Is that my tax number? You got me. You caught me. I call my tax number subscribers. Just subscribed? Bang. Shout out Oxy Brawl. Let me see. Yo, Paper Jams, thank you for the prime. Okay, Dralii's back. No more shouting out subscribers. All right. Back into game number 3. Dralii had to set up his new gaming chair. He has it fully ready. It's time to see what he can do with it. Now, one thing that he also did well is I feel like is when he played in this car with this decal, he crushed it in the pool play. So now he's back into it again, and he might be on track for closing out the tournament. Nass gonna make a save to his back wall. Double jump, bump. No, Dralii around it. Doesn't have the power, I don't think, to get a counter, but he still should have a decent possession. Are the Mr. Beast anecdotes by chat happening because he is huge on YouTube or because he's a fraud? I think it's because chat's pretty sure that we'll be surpassing Mr. Beast in subscriptions soon. I think that's probably the reason why. If you saw Mr. Beast in the chat, probably has to do with the fact that we are approaching him rapidly in subscriber count. And we're going to be there in no time. If you ask him, the #1 channel he's most worried about is youtube.com/@Feer. Just subscribed. W first time chatter. Getting us one step closer. We're actually almost at 9,500. Nass off the sidewall. Reset is inside the post. So it's another low-scoring start to this game, as neither one of these guys seem to be pulling ahead by very much. Move this up to the corner just a little bit more. There we go, nice and snug. Nass, he has been pre-jumping what he expects to be air dribbles all day. Dralii did not air dribble. Or at least didn't in the moment that Nass was expecting it. We just lost 2 subscribers. Classic. Feer, weren't you in the Rocket League Pro scene? I feel like I remember watching you slam other pros, but I don't remember. It's been a while. You're correct, chat. Tell them about how I used to slam the other pros. Nass kickoff win into low 50. Dralii went over the top expecting a pop. Nass trying to buy himself a bit of time by launching the ball at the ceiling. Dralii goes first touch reset in order to try and make something out of it. Another deadlock between these guys. As I say that, though, Nass going to get out ahead with some midfield play. Thanks for lending me the Lambo after you beat everyone in the tourneys. Yeah, no problem. I've beaten Moxie in a 1v1 show match, so I feel like that speaks for itself. Dralii going to equalize with the kickoff. The wave dash pop to set this up. Then backboard double. Dralii does not get denied. Dralii is so smooth with the ball. It's just second nature to bring it anywhere he wants. And he will dash to set up off the backboard. And ends up being able to fight it into the net. 4-3 for Dralii. Nass gonna have to save this one to his backboard, in and out of the nets. Dralii slowing down the take off the back wall after he sees Nass floating from ceiling heights, and you know, you probably have to credit Nass, although he might get scored on here. He at least slowed Dralii down, didn't allow him to do his lethal air dribbles, but this wave dash still surprised Nass, as he thought he was going to be able to interfere with that possession. Wants to punish Dralii for the half flip. Denied. Great recovery from Dralii. Turning the right way out of the corner to make sure he can get that save. Nass recovered so quickly off the sidewall. He knew Dralii was going to try and just tap it off the sidewall into midfield. He just got there first. Demo. Can he get a shot before the respawn? He's going to try to. Pre-flip save. The ball's still around the net, but it's going to go out in favor of Dralii. Both of them on no boost. Dralii will be the first to reset. Nass should be able to get that back corner, though. Now Dralii to the ground. Trying to get Nass to dance in defense and see if Nass will make a mistake by not bringing that ball anywhere upfield. He's just trying to bounce up and down with it. But Nass manages to still make a connection with the ball. Now he's starting to run out of time, though. 50 seconds to get 2 goals. Dralii, reset catch. Tried to reverse out to get Nass to panic and tap in the ball, but Nass is such a good defender and knows when to jump and when not to. Everybody in chat is getting an F. Unfortunate for them. You here on the YouTube, as you subscribe to get to 100,000, get to see the whole thing. And in 10 seconds, we'll hopefully be back with the stream. I'm here. Keep playing. Whoops. Dralii watches with the stream in the background, as we just found out. But I do not want to pause them for the stream. I guess we could have, but I've never paused the match just for stream purposes. I'd rather them just reconnect. It should be reconnecting right now. It didn't reconnect again. There's something wrong with my, I don't know, computer or something. Either way, we'll let these guys play this out. Nass denied by Dralii. Hook shots goes wide. Nass can have one last second to try and tie this game. Wave dash in, gets denied. Stole the ball away. Dralii will hit the ground. Game win. And chat should be back. Game number 4. Dralii and Nass. Unfortunately, for those of you watching on the Twitch, in the live moments, hiccup from the internet's done everything I possibly can to have that not happen. I should be able to sue my internet service provider or something for damages. But for now, we wait until the fiber gets installed and we continue with Nass Dralii. Dralii wanted the demo, didn't get it, and then power slides into controlling this ball. For a moment there, worried I DC'd again, because oftentimes when you see a power slide being held too long, it means you're not in game, or not necessarily too long, because Dralii didn't hold it too long, he just held it for a very long time, which is not often done. Nass. First touch reset, second resets, and it ends up almost just being a goal without any use of a flip. Dralii very willing to reset possessions. Could have been a hint for him in Mass Duelist. He's down to just take the ball to his back wall, start again. A little bit more so than everyone else. Obviously, Smart Ones player will do that whenever it makes sense. But Dralii will almost seem like he has a good setup already, or at least good enough, and he'll still just chip it back, go, let's start again. I want a perfect setup out of my own corner. Dralii undercutting to get a boost steal. Now pinching this to the ceiling. Fast back to the ball and actually pinned it to the ground. It looked like he was going to go for a power shot back up in the air. So maybe a mix-up to catch Nass in the wrong position by gluing it to the ground. Or a very rare mechanical mistake from one of these players. Not often something we should ever really assume is happening. Nass. Reset to the backboard, and he actually was going to have the double. Dralii's slight bump was enough to prevent Nass from being able to get there. And he might be able to get to halftime without allowing a single goal, but again, despite Dralii's solid defense, he hasn't been scoring much on his own, which means he doesn't have massive leads. He will get his goal now to bring them back to the kickoff. 2-0 for Dralii. Dralii gonna fight for another kickoff goal. Oftentimes it can feel like in a low-scoring game, being controlled by one player, it can be erased by kickoffs in favor of the person who had found no other way to score. But Dralii instead is using kickoffs in his favor. Not only has he been dominating the long-winded possessions, making sure that he's the one to come out on top, but he's also won a few kickoff possessions now to extend the lead. Vanilla, thank you for the brand new Prime. Nass on the bounce dribble hook shots. He's broken through. The bounce dribble continues to never go out of style. And the kickoffs have been volatile since, I believe, the second goal, 2-0. Dralii got a couple of them. Now Nass gets one. Dralii going to turn on the ball here and just score. Nass left too much of a window. Nass following this ball into Dralii's corner as he tries to create an attack, and he's going to go wall to air dribble from the midfield. Dralii makes a save. What a save from Dralii. I thought for sure we were about to see a goal as Nass went low, but Dralii somehow seemed to be covering everything high and still not get beaten low. And then he just drops a perfect shot onto the post. And a 6-1 lead with 1:36 left to go. Delay kickoff. Dralii going into Nass's corner to take the ball. Nass trying to break up the possession any way he can. Ends up just pinning it perfectly on the back wall. Dralii does not go for the flick. Instead, the dash and the bump attempt. Interesting recovery in net. It's not going to be enough. He had to reverse out of the net. Try and dash out, but Nass still gets his goal. It's been high scoring ever since Feer said it was low scoring. Well, that's just how it goes. I mean, you can control the game for much more time on the clock. Dralii controlled probably the first 3 minutes. Made sure he came out on top. But because it was such a low scoring affair, he didn't have a huge gap. And now, as all the goals are raining in, he has been able to maintain it though. 5-goal lead now. Dralii to the side wall. Reset at ceiling height. Gets another and uses that flip in order to get Nass to miss. Or I shouldn't say, I don't think he got the second one, but he used the flip in an attempt to get a second one in order to push the ball out past Nass's ceiling challenge. 38 seconds. And this is what I'm talking about. This is a position that other players are forfeiting today. Players not named Nass do not try and turn every single game into a goal, or sorry, every single game into a win. Especially one down 6 with 30 seconds left to go. Nass not giving up though. He says it's been done before. I can do it. And this is a pretty fancy shot too. I'm gonna watch it. Double reset and then a fake flick into the wave dash. Nass doesn't even necessarily seem interested in trying to get this game win. He's just trying to go for something nutty in the final moments. Dralii will not get a 9th, and oh, they'll have a nice little hug inside the net. Dralii, 1 game win away. We've seen this a couple times before. Can he finish it off and be the champion against Nass? Game number 5. Dralii and Nass. Dralii, I wonder if he's undefeated in this car. I feel like when he was struggling earlier, he switched to this Fennec and closed out the series. I have to go double check. Seems like he's been winning ever since he switched into it in this series. But Nass is going to open up the scoring here. Oh! For a second, I thought I was wrong. For a second, it looked like maybe Dralii could get a save. I'm going to watch it again. Ooh, yeah, definitely a chance. Nass has gone to Game 7 in his past 2 matches in the Gauntlet. Of course, came out on top in both of them. One of them, he got to 3 wins early and had to clutch it out late. So the other, he needed to come back like he's going to have to right now. Dralii. Hook shots sent to the backboard. We've started off this game again a bit slower paced than all of these end up being in the end. But Nass sees an opportunity for a double jump shot that can go the length of the field. Nass find anything on his aerial. Dralii wants the demo. Didn't get it on the first. Tried again by finding him on the back wall. Nass dodges both of those. Dralii could not box Nass out. Tried to get out ahead of him. Tried to throw Nass off of his line. But Nass got there early and undercuts Dralii instead. Nass taking a possession from his own back wall. Seems interested in going for a wall tail dribble if Dralii will let him, but Dralii does stick around. Dralii wants a demo now. We wouldn't be able to get it if he had tried to chase it down across the net, though. And then continues to try and turn right back on the ball. He doesn't want to leave the play for very long. Nass starting to make that read and prepare for it as he taps this one out around Dralii and now extends the lead to 3 with 3 minutes left. Delay kickoff. Nass is going to have nightmares by his opponents delaying the kickoff. This one, though, didn't seem like it went as poorly as it could have, but it ultimately does result in a Dralii goal. Dralii approaching at the midfield with no boost in sight. He is going to have to back off. Still working on just pads. Dralii chaining some dashes together. And nothing to come of it. Nass continuing to score goals off of just getting possession and timing his flicks when Dralii is going to challenge. They don't need to be crazy as long as they're perfectly moving the ball when the opponent comes to try and take it away. Dralii has finally fought for possession and maybe gotten an opportunity. Nass makes sure to close the distance. What a power slide into side flip from Dralii. I just didn't expect this, and it seems like neither did Nass. Dralii just staying involved in the play, continuing to rush the ball. This time it pays off. Delay kickoff. This time wave dash delay kickoff. Power slide into that midfield boost in order to make sure he's pointed where he needs to be to make the fastest possible play. Nass has to use all his boost to land down on the ground. Dralii wanted the demo, will take a boost steal, wants a demo again. Nass sees all of those coming, but now he has to defend on very little boost. Great save. Touch to the back wall, quickly recovers off of it. Now he's bought himself a lot more space. He'll have time to get 100 boost, but it will still be Dralii's possession. The air dribble gets stopped in a fake from Nass. Defensive fake. He made it seem like he was going to tap that ball to begin clearing it, but instead just let Dralii go flying by, and Nass will extend the lead. Nass seemed to be slightly frustrated. I saw some camera shaking there as he didn't like that position, but playing out of defense is working well for him. And again, this is a position that everyone else is forfeiting in. Nass does not. Nass just tries to play him out. I don't know how many comebacks he's been able to get, but Dralii would rather just see the next game, as Nass has won the first of 3 that he'll need to win if he wants to come back in this series. Game 6. Will we have 3 straight Game 7s in the EU portion of the road to 100,000 subscriber Invitational? It would be the toughest road for Nass, but it would be another tournament win for him. I'm trying to think of all the tournament wins he's had since winning Salt Mine. Don't know how many big 1v1 tournaments there have been. There was the Masked Duelist, of course, which he won hidden without people knowing who was playing. And if he's able to clutch out this one, that would show he has the ice in his veins. I think he did not win, I'm just remembering, the 20-minute 1v1. Madness. Madness had a tough break late in that one, but was on track to potentially win that one before some equipment issues. Nass trying to do the slow roll at the back of the defender, but Dralii handled it with ease. Look at that chip and wave dash. Saw the ball, headed to the back of his car, knew he'd have to find a way to get back out to it quickly, so the 180 dash, and he just got red though on the kickoff. It's going to be a chip and a 3-2 lead. Nass puts it on target. Looks like chat was misbehaving because they're in emote only mode. But we see the people dropping the Game 7 emote. They want to see Nass go to a third consecutive Game 7. Nass will steal this off the top of Dralii's car. And in a minute, up 4-2. Everybody type in F for another brief dropout of the internets. Should be back. Everyone write to Cox Communications, who provide my internet, and let them know how angry you are. Dralii, the whole field in front of him. Nass started to prepare for a potential air dribble as Dralii was carrying the ball. But ultimately, Dralii drops it to the ground. It's going to be really hard to win a 50 that you take straight down the center of the field like that. Chances are Nass going to be able to save it out into a corner, but this one Dralii will be able to score. Again, Nass having to deal with somebody delaying the kickoff against him. He's been able to keep some of them in his favor. Nice catch by Dralii to play keep away. Now can he convert? He's going to bump Nass in the process of putting this one on target. Hoping to get a boost steal here in the corner. And he does. He's going to get out around the ball, try and chip it towards the net so that Nass has to play defense on zero, but Nass saw that coming. Decided to dive. The last bit of speed he did have. Now he's going to dive again. What a 50, Dralii. Just pinning this ball into the ground. As Nass tries to go over the top of it. Or didn't really try and go over the top. They got forced over the top of it. Dralii will roll it in for the tie game. Dralii kickoff goal denied. As Dralii has had 3 chances here, as everybody has so far. Batira could not win it in any of his 3 chances. Nass, it took him all the way to his 3rd try in order for him to finish off Atto. Can Dralii do it in 2? Dralii, pretty aggressive here off the kickoff. This is always what he's trying to do. Even when he loses them, he's trying to go out, get to the ball, and then hit it back to his own corner so he can control it. As opposed to try and cause too much chaos on zero boost upfield. Got sent the length of the field As Nass, though, still couldn't pop the ball before Dralii's recovery. Dralii, first touch reset, the double, decides not to commit on it, as he did not want a Nass counterattack. He's up 1. I think under different context, Dralii would absolutely try and shoot that. But probably some smart 1v1 play from him to play his lead. Nass could not demo Dralii on the back wall. Dralii has more than enough boost to work with, but I'm not sure Nass is too worried. He has himself a clean possession. Dralii diving to try and dispossess him. I do think it's still Nass's ball. Even this touch from Dralii should be able to be controlled by Nass. Dralii dives again. Nass, can he get this on target? It's slightly off. Dralii undercuts him. Nass won't be able to get up to this one. There's 40 seconds left to go. Dralii wanted to put pressure on Nass with the shot top left, but Nass handled it so easily that he didn't even sweat at all. He just turned it into a possession of his own. Trying to switch the field. Dralii wants to cut him off. Nass uses that as an opportunity to win a 50 into the blue half, but still, Dralii's so quick on the recoveries. These two stealing the ball back and forth. 14 seconds. Nass, 50 around the net. He's got a big boost advantage now. If he can get a possession and get away from Dralii, he might have a chance. He's done just that, but that is not a great first touch. He should still be able to set it up. Dralii is not going to dive. Shadow position. Double jump from Nass. He should be able to get under it, and it is a tie game at 0 seconds. Dralii decides not to dive, plays it safer, and then looks to pre-jump the pop, but still could not get high enough. Nass has sent it to overtime. He's trying to get to a 3rd consecutive Game 7 in this gauntlet. Gonna need a solid kickoff. Dralii actually went past the play. Turning around the ball, Nass with the boost advantage recovers quicker and tries to take it over the top of Dralii. Does not put it on target immediately. Pop over the top of Dralii, and we are headed to Game 7. The 3rd consecutive Game 7. Nass has taken the absolute hardest road to try and take down this gauntlet, but he's going to have one more game and a chance to walk away with $1,000. My goodness. By the way, as a ghoul, they give the tier 1 and the 5 gifted. We also need a 1-minuter after the stream restart. And then we are in to the 3rd consecutive Game 7. Old Feer would have 4-0'd all of them. Game 7. Dralii is out of the Fennec that he was using that seemed to be able to close out series for him. Nass just refuses to lose. Twice now he's went down 1-3 in the best of 7, and twice now he's brought it back. The last time, he won the series, and it looks like he intends to do it again. Dralii going to start off down in Game 7 as Nass takes an early lead and watches the replay himself. Dralii gets his first possession of the game. It's a low boost one off kickoff. Decides not to go for the midfield, probably because he'd be at the wrong end of a demo if he went to try and get that midfield 100. Instead, back to his own corner. Dralii now just jumping behind the ball. Doesn't want to take it into Nass if Nass isn't going to force him to. Nice interception. Probably wouldn't be able to play with speed there and beat Nass, so instead he tries to just fake it, and it does work and gets a goal. So credit to Dralii. There was an opportunity for a quick shot there, but I think had he gone for it, Nass would have been able to save with power, slam it off the backboard, and then end the possession. Instead, Dralii just used the fact that that shot was available as leverage to get Nass out of position. Threaten it, make him make the defensive move, and then beat him on the follow-up. Dralii's been loving his wall dashes anytime he's been there. Nass is on another level here in this Game 7. He has just been playing quicker, I feel like, in the first minute. And in the air there, just seems willing to slam the ball and think later as he's going to recover back down. to prevent the follow-up angle for Dralii. No boost grab here, so 0 on the attacking back wall. Could be dangerous. Retreats to the midfield before Dralii really gets a clean possession, though. Dralii going to slow roll it at Nass. I tell you what, this is a very effective play. We've seen it a few times now, especially at high speed. Nass going to have a really tough time making a save directly behind him. Going to have to jump, turn, try his hardest to boost back into the ball and get a meaningful save. This time he doesn't. So Dralii up 2-1. Nass sends it into the corner. Dralii going to have another chance on net here. Nass waited it out, and Dralii put a pretty weak shot on. Nass needs to get up in the air to guarantee the tie game, but he does just that. Nass has been watching these replays. He's been in there for a long day today. I am not going to blame him for any little break he wants to take, even if that means watching one of his own goals for a bit. Nass demo. This is best course of action. There will be a respawn from Dralii before the shot attempts, but Nass does a great job to set up a hook shot and still capitalize. Dralii on the respawn. Can't really reposition to where he wants to be. Before he knows it, the hook shot is too much. Nass can let this one fall down to the midfield with 0 boost. Nice doink clear. He was in a really bad spot. No boost, and if that ball stayed, well, it doesn't matter. He still gets scored on. But that was still better than what it could have been, which is if it stayed midfield, Dralii would be scoring much faster. Instead, Nass gave himself a chance with a doink, but used that opportunity to grab boost and still couldn't get back. Dralii soft flick. Nass makes the first save, and the second shot's too high. Nass thought maybe an early challenge, so popped the ball as soon as he could control it, but Dralii does turn to shadow. 25 boost to work with, and that was not the play. You could tell he was on the wrong side of the ball. It had to be very careful with every touch as you guide the ball back into your own back wall with someone chasing you down. It can be dangerous. Kickoff win for Dralii. Is it enough to get a goal? No. Nass has stopped him. And Dralii seemed to be worried more about a bump from Nass, as he wanted to get a side flip on the ball, but wanted to do so also while not getting contacted. Dralii couldn't get enough air underneath it to get over the top of this challenge, and Nass will extend the lead. A rare 2-goal lead, it seems like, in this Game 7. These guys have been neck and neck. But Nass, who's been clawing his way through the entire gauntlet, is potentially just a minute and 30 seconds away. Dralii wants a bump. Couldn't connect with Nass. See him using that side wall to dash his way back to the midfield to reposition for the next shot, and it's going to work to get him a goal. Wave dash kickoff. Dralii is going to score immediately. Interesting. He so often goes back to his own corner that Nass almost seems to be expecting it. Instead, Dralii just chips it towards the net and takes the tie goal. Minute left to go. Tie game, Game 7 of what has been the longest possible gauntlet we could have played today. And Dralii is going to retake the lead. Took the kickoff possession back into his corner. Nass did his best to stick around and try and mess with it. but it is him who got undercut and thrown off. And now it's him who needs a good kickoff. Delay kickoff again from Dralii. But it pays off in Nass's favor. So as much as he's been having to see these delay kickoffs, they have been much more equal both ways, although this is eventually going to give Dralii a goal. 7-5 with 37 seconds for Nass to make it up. Nass has been a magician all day long, finding a way to send it to OT or get the win when he needs it. Can he do it again? A slight delay from both these guys. Nass not in control of the ball. Dralii more than willing to take this to his back corner. He's done it many times, but he's actually not going to feel comfortable to do that now. Nass has more boost than Dralii and just tapped up all the way. If he can steal this back corner boost from Dralii, he's actually still in a position. 14 seconds to score. Has to go in the air where only he can get to. Dralii on the ground is able to clear it away. Nass had a tough challenge there. The challenge was to catch the ball and turn it into a goal without bringing it to the ground, but even if he scores now, it's too little too late. Dralii holds off the insane run from Nass. It takes him full 7 games to do it, but Dralii goes undefeated and is your champion in the road to 100,000 subscribers for EU. Shout out Dralii, and shout out anyone who subscribed. What a win. Nass almost with a historic gauntlet run. GG's.